Okay, here we have 2 chopped onions, which are reasonably fine. About, I reckon, 3 heaped tablespoons of ginger, 3 potatoes cut into cubes, and I'm gonna say about 3 to 4 cups of pumpkin. I'm also going to be adding thyme. I'm going to be adding about 60 mils of top quality Australian extra virgin olive oil, about medium flavour. I'm browning off the meat. This is beef. I'm going to fog the damn camera up. And what we also have is tomato paste. You know, it's just pretty sort of standard stuff. I'll be adding most of this, if not the whole thing. And we will also be adding. I think I added one. We're going to add 1 stock cube. Don't want to overpower the rest of the flavours. So brown the meat off. Make sure it's brown sufficiently, otherwise it will look sort of not really cooked when the stew is done. This video is for future reference if we want to cook this again, if we like it. There is about a kilo, I reckon 1.2 kilos of meat here. Probably needs to be a bit hotter because it's not really browning off. It's more sort of cooking it, which isn't the end of the world because it's just gonna, it's gonna be cooked in the oven anyway. Too much liquid from the meat, so I'm not going to pour the liquid out. But what I am going to do is sort of allow it to run to the bottom of the pan. This pan has one of those tilting devices, but I have not decided to use it because I forgot it was there. I'm also going to be browning and softening the onion and the ginger and stuff, you know, before it goes in the oven. So it's looking pretty good. How much memory I've got left on this camera? There you go. So that's looking pretty good. Doesn't need to be cooked. You just want to be browning it off. There's a little bit too much moisture in there, but when you're cutting stuff up, you can get that beef, you know, it's slow cooked beef. You can get it already ready to go, cut up like that. Or you can just get some chuck steak or something nice and cut it up yourself. Now, when you're chopping up the vegetables or chopping up your meat or handling your meat, I went out and bought these chopping mats. Use a separate one for the meat and one for the vegetables. And if you drop them on the floor like I just did, make sure you wash them first before you use them. So now I'm going to I'm going to scoop the meat from the pan onto this plate, but I'm going to leave the juice from the meat in the actual pan itself. Okay, our pan's still hot. We've got 2 chopped onions. I'd say they're probably medium-sized onions. The aim of this is to brown the onion off so that, well, soften the onion. It's to soften it so it's not hard and crunchy, and so that it actually cooks properly. So we've still got the juice from the meat in the pan. We want to have the pan fairly warm, kind of thing. Things keep falling down, sorry about that. Oh well. I don't know if this is going to be a YouTube video, but if it is, I apologise. I'm no chef or anything, but there you go. So we're going to spray a bit more extra virgin olive oil. This is just the one that I got last time. I don't know. No, it's alright. It seems to be okay. It's fairly strong flavour. You don't want your onion to stick to the pan, so give it a generous coating of olive oil. This is good for you. This stuff, you know, any good quality. I'm not flogging a brand here. I'm not paid by anybody, but there you go. It's just Cobram Estate extra virgin olive oil. I prefer the full flavour olive oil. Yeah, but good, very good for your health. Extremely good for you. You don't want the pan too hot because otherwise the onion will start to stick to the pan and burn and whatnot. So I'm also going to introduce some of the meat juice into this onion. This takes about 2 hours to cook. It's you know, you put the meat. How does this go? I'm going to put in the meat, and I'm going to put in the onion, and I'm going to put the ginger in, and I'm going to let that cook for an hour, maybe 50 minutes. And because I'm lazy, I'm going to whack the veggies in the. I'm going to whack the pumpkin and the potato in the microwave for about 4 minutes, maybe 5, and that'll just sort of help the process along. So we'll just jack the temperature up a bit, just a little bit. Now that I've browned the onion nice and thoroughly, see that? It's got meat juice on it, which makes it look a little bit more brown than it really is. I'm going to take the onion out of the pan and take it out of the pan, and that's it for the frying pan. You want the oven on about 180 degrees, so it's a moderate oven. Fan forced or regular, doesn't really make much difference because of what you're cooking. Obviously, if you're cooking something like a cake or that kind of thing, you know, you want to sort of have it maybe 20 degrees cooler than, you know, if it's fan forced, but there you go. So just a close up of that. That's what it looks like when it's browned, if the camera will focus. Dropping it all over the floor. Well, there you go. That's why we're putting in a semi-commercial kitchen. Right. Pan can go off. There's the controller and the thing from the wall. I recommend while the pan's still hot to whack a bit of water in it because it'll make clean up a lot easier. Not too much water, so leave it just sort of leave it a bit, you know, warm still. Push it in the back so there's no accidents. Now you want a dish that can fit about 2.5 litres in it. That one should be fine. So not enough stove real estate. So the meat with the juice, a couple of escapees I got lucky. Rusty, make sure if you touch a dog or whatever, you go wash your hands. Don't go, you know, stuffing around with. Now, memory. I'm sort of making it up as I go along, so bear with me. Stock cube, beef flavoured. Whack it in with your meat. Put in your onion. Don't be afraid of using your hands because they're clean. Presumably you've washed them thoroughly with hot water before you start cooking. If you go out for a cigarette or whatever, make sure you wash your hands again. So we're going to add the tomato paste when we add the vegetables. So I'm going to add the ginger, which we've chopped up finely. If I can get it in frame. We're going to add it now because this will take a little while to soften up. This, make sure, like with raw onion, if you go touching your eyes after you've been touching this, it'll burn like crap. So make sure you bloody well wash your hands thoroughly with soap and water before you go rubbing your eyes or whatever. So, because that will bloody hurt. And like my fiance found out, don't go eating ginger unless it's cooked because it's pretty spicy. Isn't that right, Holly? I'm just going to use a small spoon. No reason, just cause I'm lazy. Now you want to add some corn flour to this. And turn our oven on. You want to add some corn flour to this to thicken it up, because it is a casserole, not a soup. So I haven't got any corn flour, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to add some plain flour to it. It'll thicken it up enough. So, but yeah, just corn flour. As for the amount, you'll just have to experiment. I'm not a chef, so you don't want heaps in there, obviously. So just put a little bit in there. Make sure you spill it all over the floor and all over your black shirt. I'm only joking, it's alright. Now we want the measuring cup. Don't have it. That's good. Must be in the cupboard. No, it's not in there. No. Okay, that's what she looks like, with the onions, the ginger, and the browned beef in there. You could use lamb if you wanted to, I guess. There's probably not much difference. We've also added 4 cups of water to that, so you need a pretty large dish to fit in the veggies. So they will fit in that, but sort of just. So you don't want a smaller dish than 2.5 litres. You may wish to go out and buy a larger dish even. So 3 litre dish is pretty good. Righto, the hour's up, and we've gotten our casserole out of the oven. The potato I put in the microwave for a total of about 7 minutes. That just hastens the cooking time. And I've got more veggies in the microwave. I put them on for about 7 minutes as well. Okay, well, after it cooked for an hour with the onions, ginger, and the stock cube, and the 4 cups of water, and the beef, I pulled it out of the oven, set it up on the stove top. I put in the carrots, the potatoes, the pumpkin, and I put in the tomato paste. Now I used I used about maybe a bit more than a quarter of a cup, so it's very, very close to done. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. Alright, well, this is what we've got, and I just sampled it. Just took a little bit of the sauce, and it's very, very nice. So yeah, comment, whatever, if you want to make this dish. Tell me your experience. You want to avoid putting too many different flavours in it, because it's going to taste like shit. So keep it simple, not too much crap in it. Remember, a little bit of flour to thicken it up. Corn flour is perfect. That'll thicken it up as it cooks. I didn't have any, so I just used what's the name? Just regular old plain flour. So I'm not going to touch it because it's hot. But there you go. So thanks for watching.